member of the Hall of Fame, DeRon Jenkins. Wow. So my daughter asked me the other day, she said, "Well, Daddy, what are you going to say?" I said, "I don't know." But all I can say right now is wow. Thank you. This is an honor for me. I'm very humbled to accept being a part of this school legacy for a lifetime. I do want to introduce my mom to you. A couple of things I'll say. She'll be involved in it, so you might want to meet her right now. But this is my mom, 30 years, wow. It did kind of got away from me. But this is my 30-year high school reunion this year. And it's just, it flew by. I was a part of the desegregation program, which now it sounds crazy because Rittner is very diverse, which is amazing. But when I came here, I had to ride a bus for about an hour and 25, 30 minutes to get to school every day. And so when I arrived, I really didn't know how I was going to be received. And I was nervous. Now, we were outside talking a little earlier, and everybody was like, "Well, what middle school did you go to? Did you go to Haight? Did you go to Rittner?" I was like, "No, I didn't go to neither." And they're like, "Well, how'd you get here?" And I went to a Christian private school, little bitty school in South St. Louis, all the way up into 8th grade. So in 9th grade, I begged my mom, "I want to play football. Can you please let me go to this school?" And she's like, "I don't know. Education is really important." I'm like, "Mom, I'm not going to be a doctor. I just want to play football." And she said, "Okay." And here came Rittner. My brother was here. He was a senior in high school when I arrived at Rittner. I was a freshman, obviously. And I just didn't even know what to think. But once I walked on campus, the Husky pride really welcomed me. And that was something that I could never imagine was going to happen, to be received the way that I was received. Don Owens, who was was a head football coach at the time, they just received me. And it was nothing attached to it. And so I will tell a funny story. So our freshman year starts in football. And so I'm playing JV, I'm playing with George, tons of guys that are here today, Nathan, tons of guys. And about mid-season, one of the guys either got hurt or didn't want to play anymore on the varsity. And so the coach says, "Hey, DeRon, we're gonna bump you up to varsity. So come down here and practice with us." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, well those guys are kind of big. I don't really, it's cool, I can run fast, but they're a little bigger than I am." And so I go down there, practice. And so after practice, I said, "Mr. Owens, I need to talk to you." And he was like, "Hey, what's up?" It's like, "Why do you look like that?" Because my face was kind of bloomed. I'm like, "You gotta go ask my mom." And so he's like, "I have to ask your mom?" I was like, "Yeah, because most kids, you get promoted to varsity as a freshman." I'm like, "Oh, that's great, Mom, I love my kid." I'm like, "Oh, you gotta go ask my mom." So he goes to ask my mom the first time, and she said no. It's like, they're too big. No, he can't do that. And so I start crying. I started crying. And so the next day or so, two of the captains from the team that were seniors came to the house. And so they say, "Well, Miss Jenkins, we're going to make sure DeRon's okay. gonna protect them, knowing that there's no in the world that they can do that. But they told her that, made her feel good, and she's like, okay, I'm looking at you and I know your name in your face. If something happens to him, I'm coming for you. So long story short, the rest is history. I did want to say a side note, there's a lot of coaches here that have been a part of my life for a very long time. My summer track coach, Ron King, is here. Mr. Cunningham, Mr. Wirtz, those guys are amazing men. And when they say it takes a village, it really did. Those coaches supported me, loved on me, told me to calm down when I needed to calm down. They helped me become the hard worker and continue to be the man that I was yet to be. Now, at the time, I didn't always understand that. But those men were so significant in my life that looking back now, you didn't always understand why they told you to do certain things that they told you to do, or the way that they told you to do it. You just thought you knew everything. I mean, what 15, 16-year-old doesn't know everything? I mean, I know I did. But going forward, you know, education was always pushed with my mother and the coaches around me to be prepared to go to college. And so once I received the scholarship to go to the University of Tennessee, you know, it was definitely a blessing. And I had so many people that contributed to that. It was like our scholarship. It wasn't just mine. And getting drafted felt the same way. But at the end of this story, it's not a happy ending, because you think that you're going to play football forever. You think you're going to do what you love sometimes forever, and sometimes it pivots. So when it reached a point where they were done with me as an athlete, I have to ask myself, like, what am I going to do now? And that's a difficult task, because when you have done something your entire life and you've loved it, and all of a sudden it's over and you're 31, what do you do? And so I'm like, I have to reinvent myself. And to be quite honest with you guys, there's no great story behind this one, but I said, I'm gonna pick a job that I can't get fired. I'm gonna pick a job that I can't get fired. And I'm interested in homes, so let me try this. And there have been times I wanted to fire myself, but it stuck. It was natural. The hard work, the learning was all natural. It just all came second nature. And it's been a blessing to me and a blessing to my family. And what I want the young Rittner students to see that, yes, it was an amazing, you know, I have records at Rittner. I excel, you know, as an athlete, both in high school, college, and professional, but that's not it. That's not the rest of your life. There's so much more. And when they look at that picture, yeah, gravitate to the fact that I was able to achieve those things, but also gravitate to when you're throwing a curveball and you have to adjust, be ready, because it's gonna happen. And that's what I would love to lead to the future Huskies, is when they look at that picture, you say, yeah, it's great, but there was more left. And I feel like this school has grown immensely. These young people back here that helped put this together, you guys are amazing. I'm so impressed. Like, when I was your age, I wasn't thinking about anything about that. Like, I couldn't put anything together, not a pamphlet, program, nothing. But you guys are shining, and this is the future of this school, and this is the future of our society. And for Rittner to be a huge part of that, I'm just honored. So I thank everybody for taking your time to come here and share this with me, because you could be doing something else. And I always respect people's time. My uncles, aunts, families, friends, my peers. To me, the biggest compliment is when your peers come. They don't have to do that. I have some from Kansas City, you know, all over the place, and they took the time to come. I'm going to end on that, but this guy right here, George Lee, was a really big part of last year retiring my jersey, which, again, I was honored. I love this school. I breathe this school. I text George every week, how we doing? He tells me about basketball, but I'm like, George, I'm talking about football. but that's George. But I do want to say thank you all, and I appreciate you, and I'm honored.
All right.